Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's time for the 9th war of the season, my 3rd with 4 Loki. I did have my first death last war, so I'm really looking forward to get back out there and to contribute. I was put on path 2 in section 1, which is the strike counter lane, starting off with Human Torch versus SymSup with the power struggle, then moving on to the second fight against this MODOK with Magneto, and then the third and final fight of that section versus an R3 Mojo, who's always a little scary for me. Then moving on to past 7, 8, and 9, that very first fight before the fork or the split against this encroaching stun Dragon Man that's going to come into play later. Then the power from afar Tigra, and then last but definitely not least, Magneto versus Darkhawk with kinetic transfers for 6 fights this war. Let's get to the show. Hey, all right, so it is time for the first fight of this war with the power struggle and strike counter SymSup. There was an interesting wrinkle in this. The other 2 times I've taken this fight has been with against the Cosmic. We fought Silver Surfer and Hyperion, and the reason this was different is obviously this is not Silver Surfer or Hyperion, but also because of the way SymSup gains power. And I did fall forward a little bit here. As you see, I'm going to be using all of my strikes, meaning he is going to start growing those Furies. Fortunately, once I realized the problem, I wasn't too concerned about it. I did get to the bar of power when he got to it. I made sure to throw my SP1 as soon as I could. And also, this is an R3 Human Torch. I've boosted big. I've been given excellent planning and excellent matchups by my BG and Alliance leader. So just stayed calm, knew that Torch was an overpowered option against that Mystic. And so while the placement did work against me, it's something for me to learn and be aware of in the next and following wars. It didn't change the outcome of the fight, as you can see. Then we moved into MODOK with the strike counter Fury and then this brute force. I mean, I am going to be wanting to hit into him at least every 6 seconds or start to suffer the degeneration. Much like I don't think that the on the ebb and flow intercept and the ebb and flow knockdown, that protection is that big of a deal. I don't think it's something that you should be totally focused on in that fight. I kind of feel as though I should not allow that degeneration to take over my mindset in this fight. Sure, I don't want to let 20 seconds go by, and I shouldn't get into a place where I absolutely have to bait a special, or if I hit him, he'll go into the SP3. But I have a great matchup for this. MODOK is magnetized here because he's a metal defender. And so this is really just going to be a matter of keeping kind of an eye on my hit counter, evading those SB1s, which, I mean, MODOK has been in this game a very, very long time. So I'm very familiar with that. And, you know, sometimes he's going to go indestructible. Sometimes he's not because of that ability accuracy reduction. I mean, if I had any complaint or if I had any advice or something to just kind of look out for, one of the things that confuses me a little bit, or I find myself getting tripped up on these Magneto versus metal opponent fights, is that sometimes their abilities don't trigger because the ability reduction is so large. I think it's 70%. But then sometimes they do. And so I think it's best to just approach the fight as if they are going to trigger. And if they don't, it's a really nice treat that works in your favor. Moving into the fight that scared me the most going into this, I actually did remove dexterity for this fight. This is an R3 Mojo. Yeah, it is an R3 Mojo. And I did not want to gain any buffs. I did not want to have anything happen that was going to have me gain buffs and start degenerating and put me into that kind of worried panic state. Went in, immediately started getting my temperature up with the heavy, and I was keeping an eye on his prompts in hopes of not completing them for him. And yet I did know that Human Torch was going to do significant damage. If I didn't take too many heavies to the face, I would probably be fine. I'm not even going to try to evade his specials. I'm going to let him hit me. In fact, I could have stayed in there a little bit more. That's just taking over. That's fighting against muscle memory there. I'm used to backing up. I'm used to getting out of the way of that. But let him hit me because that's just going to build my temperature and build the smolders. And you see that we're already at 14 of those, and the amount of damage that the incinerates are doing, how long they're staying on, it's very clear to me that I have won this fight, that I could only potentially ruin it here. So if I just stay calm and finish doing what I'm doing, I've just finished a really tough fight for my alliance. One of my alliance mates was waiting for me to get this fight down so he could move on and take an extremely difficult fight and open up section 2 for us. So it felt great. It felt good. It felt good to be an asset and to help us in what was an extremely tight war, very tight. Moving on to this first fight, as you move into section 7, 8, and 9, this was the big fight. This was the one I was told to even save my pre-fight ability for. I want you to notice that there is that encroaching stun. I had done my duels. I had really worked on Dragon Man's animations. I even remembered to follow subscriber advice of triggering the pre-fight ability, exiting out of the screen, coming back in, confirming that the pre-fight had been enabled and triggered. Some of you who are new to the channel will not know or probably won't remember, but I had actually set the pre-fight ability a few wars back to have it just not work, and it completely was the reason why I lost that fight. Also, I was able to use my indestructible boost because I knew I was taking this fight and then the Tigra before, and I was very concerned about Tigra specials. I had been doing the duels, but you know. So this fight was great. All I knew I needed to do was start to build my temperature, build my boulders, let him hit me a little bit, and then just make sure I throw my special. When the encroaching stun timer starts to go down, as you can see, there was an opportunity I could have thrown a special. Here's an opportunity where I could have thrown a special. I just completely forgot. Fortunately, I had used the indestructible. I was extremely prepared. I had been given the best possible matchup, and my BG leader even set it up. There was more than one R3 Human Torch, had even set it up so that I could use my pre-fight ability. And look, I got lucky there. I'm not going to try to tell you like it was in the bag. I knew it all along. Like that fight's actually really funny. And I clearly just forgot about the encroaching stun. But I think that's what preparation can do for you. I think that's what they mean when they say you make your own breaks, or sometimes you make your own luck. As you can see, the fight was won. I could just stop hitting him and I was going to win the fight. And I think that is due to boosting big and to my alliance leader and my BG leader providing me with an excellent option and knowing how to plan an attack, a map attack. So anyways, moving on to this fight, I was not too concerned about this. Tigra does take up a lot of room with her specials and her heavy, but like I said, I had done my duels, I had become familiar with them. I felt like I couldn't lose after that. I mean, that was one of the funniest fights I've ever seen. Evade that special 2, come in and just use the special to finish her off. And you know, I had also the confidence of having my indestructible boost still on me. And I love my Human Torch and I love him against Mystics. It's just a beautiful thing. So, and then moving in for what was going to be my final fight was this Magneto versus the kinetic transference Darkhawk. Magneto is just, it's like he was made for fights like this. This is metal, there's healing involved, the opponent's going to be magnetized. So my attitude completely, I knew this was going to be my last fight of the war, as you know, I'll frequently say, I'd much rather use potions than die in war. I mean, the whole point of war, I love the competitiveness. I love that excitement feeling. I love how serious it's being taken in 4 Loki. And so if I take some blocked hits, I'm fine with it. That's not my goal. My goal isn't to escape these fights with perfect health. So all I'm doing is I'm just trying to manage the map. I'm not taking any silly chances here. I'm going to block this special 1. I will, of course, build prowess as I can because it'd be silly not to. But as we've talked about in previous wars and previous fights, I don't want to get so stuck with the just heavy only that I end up getting pushed onto my side. Now you'll see I've made a small mistake there. I let him get way too close to the SP3. I don't want any accident to ruin that. I'm starting to get a little backed into my side. I'm a big believer in the damage of Magneto's SP2. And so we're just going to come in here and finish it off. Felt great. I was given 6 fights, which was a lot, and I did not die on any of them. I definitely got lucky on the Dragon Man, but I do think that's more about boosting big and again, just being given excellent opportunity being told to save the pre-fight ability. And I think the credit for that solo really goes to the leadership in their planning. We did end up winning the war. It was incredibly close. The alliance we faced is quite good. And just a quick shout out to FaZe, who I've been playing alongside for years. I mean, back to WoW. He's awesome. And Karate Mike, who I'm sure you all know, and an excellent channel, excellent player. And then, of course, Legacy, who I know you all know. Laggily, I'm going to hear about that. But another great player and another great channel. And it's just wonderful to be here. I'm learning so much, and I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. I hope you either learned something, were entertained, or even better, a little bit of both. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow on Twitter at VegaGaming583. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.